Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's Meetup Live. I'm Carla. I'm the email marketing coordinator here at Meetup, and today I'm joined by special guest, LaShawn Dreyer, founder of Black Woman Hustle and Amora magazine. Hear about the role of authenticity in building social capital and growing a thriving community. In this hour-long discussion, you'll learn how to go beyond posting on social media platforms and start genuinely engaging your digital audiences. Before we get started, we're going to go over the guidelines and the agenda. So this event will be recorded. You will not appear in the video. Your audio will be muted during this event. If you have any questions, submit them in the Q&A feature at the bottom of your screen. And closed captioning is available. To turn it on, click on the live transcript icon at the bottom of your screen and select your preference. So on the agenda for today, we have a quick introduction, followed by the fireside chat with LaShawn, and then the Q&A session at the end. So let's get started with our introduction. LaShawn Dreyer is founder of Black Woman Hustle and Amora magazine and a powerhouse marketing strategist, amplifying the voices and businesses of Black women. In 2018, this networking maven launched the global all-in-one networking platform, positioning Black women entrepreneurs, professionals, and creatives to network with purpose. Black women entrepreneurs, professionals, learn from industry-leading experts and grow profitable business. She has curated intentional events, collaborative spaces, profit-building resources and opportunities, and an impactful podcast for a collective community of 110,000 plus ambitious women. LaShawn has received recognition as a gender equality innovator by Tika Taylor and Women's History Month honors by Rolling Out. She has grown audiences, curated nationwide events and campaigns, organized partnerships, and created content for companies including Essence, the Sisters in Business Expo, and Lululemon. Her passion remains rooted in creating the spaces and opportunities Black women deserve to continuously make groundbreaking moves in business. That is amazing. Thank you so much for joining us today. And to get started, for those who may not know, what is Black Woman Hustle?
Well, first, thank you, Carla, and thank you, Meetup, for presenting the opportunity to speak with everyone. Black Woman Hustle is the global all-in-one networking platform designed for Black women entrepreneurs, professionals, and creatives to learn, network with purpose, and engage in a series of opportunities and events that present them with the chance to grow their businesses, network with intention, but also position them to be the most sought after and highest paid. And it's a growing and thriving community that is, of course, still on the rise. I'm like, it's budding, but at the same time, there are so many women that we've connected with globally to build this and continue, of course, uplifting and sustaining one another. So that's Black Women Hustle, like in a nutshell.
Yeah, that's amazing. And how did this begin?
Ooh, so I worked in corporate since 2013 in accounting and treasury. And along that journey, of course, I would be on social media, just kind of chit chat and then asking questions. I engaged in a lot of dialogue. And one day I asked a question to the Black women on my timeline and I asked, what was your experience like? Or what has your experience been working with other Black women? And I didn't like what I saw in response. So I was like, what can I do to defy that? And I thought about it, I spoke with some friends and I was like, you know what, I'm going to create something that gives us, the space to just be, a place to just kind of be ourselves. And I was like, let me think about it for a minute. And I took some time, a couple of months, and I was like, Black Woman Hustle. That's it. It's for Black women, but it's all about us getting out there and just doing what we have to do and doing what we need to do to get the results that we want, to get the businesses that we want, to grow the communities that we want. And I put it out there and I told Black women, I said, hey, listen, this is something I'm starting. I had no idea of what it would be, but I was like, this is something that I'm about to just put together for us so we can have this space to, find people that we trust and people that we can connect with and network with where we can share our ideas and have our masterminds and just come together and create this community, a trustworthy community of Black women. And sometimes there were people who were either looking for somebody and they specifically wanted a Black woman who, did these things. And I put the space together, and slowly but surely, I put it out there, and I was just like, all right, these are some of the opportunities I've heard of. These are some of the women who are looking for this specific, professional, and started making those connections with people. And within 3 months, there was about 10,000 people behind it. And then in 7, there were about 40,000. So since then, it's just been this budding community of Black women coming together, networking again with purpose, and growing our businesses and, doing what we can to sustain our communities.
So this is like a community of entrepreneurs, or just basically any type of woman that comes into this to share their ideas and other opportunities that they may have with your community?
Oh, absolutely. So there's so much to it, because there's a membership first, and I wanted that because I wanted to create an actual community where it's member-led, where if you have questions about your business, if you're, trying to find a specific resource, or you're wondering if there are any opportunities available, or if you even have some to share, this is where we can do that, and we can do it together. They can be the first to know. So I created the Black Women Hustle Society for that purpose. And it's for any women who feel like those are the things I need. These are the people I need behind me as I, venture off into, the business world, and even in professional spaces, because not everyone in the society is an entrepreneur. Some of them are just professionals and creatives who are navigating their territories. They may step into entrepreneurship eventually, but they still need the support, and they are looking for the opportunities that still exist. And it's a place where they can come to gather knowledge, get that economic empowerment. And of course, again, like learn and grow with one another. And we always provide a media space. So there's a blog, which has been honestly, one of the biggest, the highest sources of traffic for Black Women Hustle, because we highlight the different women who are doing things. There's so many women who are trailblazers, who are, climbing the ranks of corporate ladders, or just in entrepreneurship, breaking records, and no one hears about it. But we created the space to, present that and position them in places where people can find them and know that there are Black women out here doing these things that need to be heard or need to be seen. If someone says like they were the first, we can say, no, actually, we know someone who's been doing this. And, we curated that space. We have the Black Women Hustle Collective, which has been a series of, just Black women who are experts in their industry. We have who specialize in e-commerce, public relations, marketing, publishing, and those are the people we direct anyone to. So I'm like, some people stumble upon it and they're not a Black woman, but when they find it, they're like, well, I needed this PR professional to show me how to get this exposure. So with the collective, it's affordable, because we know that, especially in these times right now, being in a recession, like money isn't the same, as it once was. It can be expensive to invest in, professional services and consultations. So we've created affordable opportunities for them to either consult with experts and also learn from experts, because their courses are listed as well. And we have the podcast as well. So, the podcast has been on hold for a minute, but it's always another space for them to learn from women like Claire Summers of Fashion Bomb Daily, or Tanya Rapley, and, just hearing the women who navigated a lot of these territories and listening to their journey, but also the advice they have for the people coming behind them, so they don't have to make the same mistakes. It's one of those spaces where all Black women from all walks of life and all journeys, no matter where we are, they're more than welcome.
Yeah, I love it. So you're building a community of people just helping each other out, sharing their ideas and sharing their experiences with each other. So for a lot of women who do want to start a business and expand their career, but don't know where to start, what are some of your the first steps that you suggest for them to do, other than Black Women Hustle?
I'm like, you already know first, Black Women Hustle.
Yeah.
I'm like, outside of Black Women Hustle, one I always recommend is First Generation University by Dr. Eve Hudson, because a lot of us, like, again, navigating these territories, we're new to this. Many of us haven't had parents and people who come before us who were in corporate America, or those who were, college graduates, or those who were entrepreneurs. So I always recommend people go to firstgenerationuniversity.com because it's where you'll find a place where you'll feel like, phew, like I'm not alone. There's someone who can answer my questions, and there's a whole nother, again, a community, what Dr. Eve has curated over there, for you to find the resources you need, find the people, and make those connections with people from around the world who can relate and resonate with what it is you have going on. But when it comes to, of course, getting started with your business and like building community and whatnot, I feel like there are 4 people that you should always have. The first is someone who is either where you are or has been where you are, because you want someone that, you can relate to, you can connect with on a personal level. People underestimate the value of access. So you want someone who's accessible to you, to where you share this relationship and you have this bond where, you can always communicate about the things that are going on. You can share new ideas and, just kind of bounce ideas off of each other. And then there is someone who is where you're trying to go, because you want to know, what can they teach you? Do they have a podcast, a book? Or if you're in corporate, is there someone in a certain position and you want to figure out how they got there? Is it someone you can shadow? So always find someone who is where you're trying to go, so you can look at their story, just kind of study them and their patterns, not to replicate what's already been done, but to understand what you may have to look forward to in the future. The third person I would say is a lawyer. I always consult with the lawyer first, because first they can be the one to draft all of your legal documents, look over your contracts, make sure your business structure is, properly put together, and protect your intellectual property, because people sleep on that end of it. You'll have this brilliant idea, and as soon as you put it out there, somebody will see it and be quick to snatch it up. So I always encourage people to find a trusted lawyer first. Look at their reviews, ask what their success rate is, because a good lawyer can tell you. Like, I have a really good success rate. I, finalized X amount of contracts, work with this company, that company, this is what I've done. They have a portfolio that speaks for itself. And the fourth is to find an accountant, because mixing the personal and the business finances is, it's one of those big red flags. And when the money get funny and the books get shook, the IRS coming to take a look. So don't sleep on finding a solid accountant. But I would always say, gather those 4 people. And I think with the guidance of the 4, you can't go wrong, especially when getting started, because they won't steer you wrong. They'll always give you, the best advice that works for you and your company or whatever it is you're trying to do and build. So I would say that's exactly where you start when you're, starting out with entrepreneurship. And even for the people who are veterans, like, they already know to secure those people, or they learn down the line that these are the people I should have had in my corner from the very beginning. And when putting those together, like, it's inevitable that you'll come across different things and different people, but the purpose is always to grow. You should be expanding your network as much as possible to pull in the people who can help you along this journey. So, again, you don't make the mistakes that others have made, but you navigate these territories and you continue to trailblaze and build what's destined for you.
So I know you mentioned getting someone who was already in a business, who kind of like already knows, who's been there, done that. But how would you, what are some of the tips that you would give to someone who are kind of like scared to do that, like introverts, people that can't really get out there as easy? What are your tips for them to go out there and find the right people to guide them?
Oh, do it scared. I think a lot of people are afraid to ask for help. And that's a huge thing, especially when you're trying to build your network and just grow in general. You can't be afraid to open your mouth and ask for exactly what you want. As we've heard growing up, a closed mouth don't get fed. So you have to be the person that just speaks up, even if your voice is shaky, your hands shaky, and you're nervous about it, it don't matter. Open up, like, ask for exactly what you want. They say the worst that someone can tell you is no, but I think the worst that could happen is you not doing it at all, and not chasing your dreams. So I would say first ask for help, because you're going to need people along the way. And then don't fear change, because everything is different. Once you actually get into it, you'll think like, oh, all I had to do was like get the business together, like get my socials and, my website together, and like everything should run smoothly. But no, things change. You have to grow. Sometimes you need additional team members. Sometimes you need people to help like run a community. And, you need other people who can just kind of like guide you on those things. But you want to be just fearless in your approach to go for those things, and not be afraid to ask for help, and don't fear the change. Like those are the main two things, because it will get in your way. You'll get in your way before anything else, but it's all in your mind. But go for it anyway. If you're scared, doesn't matter. Shoot it. Shoot the shot.
Oh, so you suggest someone to just reach out to them like through like LinkedIn or social media?
Oh, for sure. Any way possible. If you're in a room with someone and you see they're accessible, walk up. If you're on social media, send the DM. It's kind of difficult now because they made it like a little harder to get in touch with people on social media, especially with the request box, and then there's the general inbox and the primary inbox and whatnot. There are a lot of changes that have been made, but sometimes it's a matter of just actually posting and saying exactly what you're looking for. There are advertising spaces. You find other people who have these communities who have the people that you are specifically looking for. Ask them, do you mind if I advertise this opportunity? This is exactly what I want. You have to utilize what's in front of you. And all of those are free for the most part. Some platforms, they charge for ad spaces, and some platforms are like, if this is something that's going to benefit my people, I'd be more than happy to share it, or I'll actually send it to some of the people I know. It's a matter of starting to build those connections so that if you become more comfortable with asking for help and utilizing the social channels and the access that you actually do have to the people that you'll need in the future.
Yeah, social media is super important right now. I feel like you could do so much with it. It's literally out there for everyone. So how can one use social media to connect with others, to bring like a service that you're providing, or just to grow a community?
So social media, to me, I closely relate social media and social capital, because there are three components to social capital. And of course, that's like the bonding, the bridging, and the linking. And I don't think enough people utilize, those three, or try to figure out. So when you're on social media, figure out which part of social capital you want to approach and base your content around that. Like, are you bonding? Are you just here to make friends and find social events and, just people you can kick it with and hang with, or just go to certain networking events with, or something like that, like a biz bestie of sorts. That would be the bonding piece. So the content you would post would probably be geared more toward that. It's more of a, social content where you just like, I'm here, I'm there, here's get ready with me. Like, here's some things I found, like influencer type content. But if you are the type who's into linking, like, well, or not linking, but bridging, if you just want to like, hey, I do this, I know you do it too. Let's try to find somebody else where, we can see how we can work together and make this connection. If you want to be like that third party person, cater your content toward that, start posting the information that people might need, or sharing the fact that someone else is looking for a specific opportunity or a specific professional, or they're hiring. Share the opportunities that exist, but also create them, and figure out how you can be the person that, just kind of bridges the gap and pulls people together. Or are you more into linking, where you're getting into the socioeconomic factors, or like cultural factors, historic, like anything like that. And you're just making sure, like, if I know someone who has an opportunity, and I know someone who is far from this type of role, it's not even their realm, it's, they wouldn't see this person in the same room. You want to make the connection. You cater your content toward that, so people know this is a place where I can come and find exactly what I need. Or if you feel like when it comes to social capital, you're all three across the board, create content that caters to that, message and connect with the people that would be more interested in. If they're interested in presenting opportunities, write them, DM them, comment, engage with their content, and also take it from social media. I think social media is one big lead generator, and people don't look at it as such, because if those platforms disappear, what can we do? Absolutely nothing. But if you have a text community, if you have email addresses, if you have a group where y'all meet every single Wednesday at a pub or something like that, create that community that exists, but use social media to draw people away from it. What you want to do is just pull them in initially, but make sure you're creating lasting connections. But I think people sleep on the fact that social media is a huge lead generator, no matter what you're trying to do. If you look on like different pages and categories, you'll see so much exists. Like, there's so many industries and opportunities and it's too much for you not to engage. It's a barrier breaker. The people you would typically see sitting on a stage at an event where you can't necessarily access them, today you can say, hey, everybody, do me a favor, tag this company or tag this person. If enough people do it, next thing you know, they're in articles and like featured in all these publications, and like so-and-so became like an overnight sensation because of a social media post. It's as simple as that. You know, again, it's breaking the barriers between what used to seem impossible or be within like a huge reach. And now you're in the same realm as these billion-dollar corporations, and all you have to do is post and show up and, you know, utilize your space with intention to grow in the way that you want to.
Yeah, definitely. Social media is such a great tool for growing basically anything. And I feel like people don't take advantage of it as much as they should. But why, I know that you speak a lot about networking and building community, but why would you say that that's important for building a successful business?
Oh, again, because you need people. No one, no matter how rich or famous somebody is, they didn't get there by themselves. You have to have people. If you're an entrepreneur or if you're in corporate, they say, you know, you're an average of the 5 people closest to you. So when you look around, do you have a community? Do you have people who are supporting you? Do you have people you are supporting that you've created this, you know, mutually beneficial relationship with? But as an entrepreneur, if you look around, are these people motivating you? Are they doing similar things? Are you exchanging information? When I learn something, I'll come back and let you know what I learned, you know, and we can continue building together. I'll help you build what you have. You know, if you're in corporate, when you look around, are you surrounded by the gossiping coworkers, or are you surrounded by the people who are going to just say, well, hey, if you're trying to get to this role, you should take this personal development course, or, you know, you should see if you could go down to this department and shadow so-and-so, so, you know, you can see what it takes. You know, how are you building your community and creating a network that is going to benefit you? I always tell people, whenever, either whatever space you're in, entrepreneur or corporate, when you start to build your community and your network, envision your goals. If you know what you want, when you start surrounding yourself with the people who help encourage that goal, or, you know, just meet the goal, or create a solution that you're looking for, eventually you'll begin cultivating the community that you want to build. And you should always keep that first in mind whenever you're starting. So it's always essential that you know, cultivate the community that you want to see and build on that. Always lead with that.
And what are some of your tips for building those communities?
Oh, first, have a purpose. Have a purpose. Know exactly why you are starting this, and why you're choosing to build this community. What is it that you're trying to do? Is it a growth thing? Is it because you need someone to keep you spiritually grounded? You know, there's so many reasons and that people can have to build communities. But, you know, is this just a space? Are we coming together because we have similar interests? You know, figure out that first. And then after that, if you're working digitally, choose a platform. Like I said, social media is nothing more than a lead generator. You know, it's a place to, of course, like explore and like share opportunities and connect, but choose where you're going to lead your community. So there's Slack, a lot of people use. Some people have like group chats and WhatsApp. Some actually use social media to create groups, and like Clubhouse, they have clubs or like the rooms and whatnot. You know, where are you leading your people? Always figure out that first, because it's the one thing I think a lot of people sleep on when it comes to collecting the information up front and knowing how to stay in touch with the people that you have started connecting with, who are interested in whatever it is you have to offer. And be clear on your messaging when you approach it. You know, let them know exactly what you've created and what they can come for, what they can find here, and continue to build on that. And when it comes to being in person, find events that cater to whatever it is you're looking for. Use platforms like Meetup, you know, to find people who have the similar interests, or find the events that are happening around you, so you can be surrounded again by those people who are on the same frequency as you. And then if not, host events. people think you have to have like a name behind you to host events and bring people together, but you don't. You just have to have people behind you in order to do so. So it's like if I have a following of like 1,000 people, but I know at least half of them engage with me every day, and about 30% of them are within my local area or close enough, let's get together. Like, let's create a space so we can come together and actually connect with one another in person and take it from there, build a relationship from there. And then just stay consistent in your communication. Once you've started making these connections, how are you going to consistently stay in touch with these people? Are you going to reach out just when you want something, or are you going to reach out because there's more that you have to offer them? Even when they don't necessarily need anything, how are you showing up? You have to figure out how you're going to communicate. Are we texting them? Are we sending emails? Do we have a group chat? Are we checking in weekly? Figure out what that looks like. But if you're starting out and you're looking to build, I would definitely take those tips and build from that foundation.
Yeah, I always feel like the best marketing is when you're providing your audience with something that is not like selling them something, but maybe
Sure.
giving them information or some education about something. So let's say you have your community, you have your business, but it's just not getting off the ground. What techniques would you have that help you stay confident in what you're providing and persistent with your goals?
Mine's a little more personal. I think more people would expect a business response, but it's the people I surround myself with. Because I have my days where mental health is taking a toll, and I just don't want it. Back when my hustle wouldn't have existed past 2019 if it wasn't for my circle, my sister, Diaba Dash. Like, it gets hard, but I have people who champion me every single day. And they make sure I'm grounded, but they also make sure I stay motivated. They're reminding me, like, do you know who you are? Do you know what you've created? Like, there are people in these rooms who can't like hold a flame to what you do. But then there's also the women who have come for what I've created. And it's not that they come with their hands out, it's that I wake up every day. I've waken up every day since 2018. There hasn't been a day yet where I've gotten up and I didn't have a notification, an email, a DM, a text, a missed call. Someone's always looking for something, because in the beginning, I told them I've created this space, and that's exactly what they're coming for. So it's like, if I said I wanted to build a community, I built it. Now, do I have to deliver on that? Absolutely. So now I'm pushing through, because these women expect me to show up for them. And again, I want to be a woman of my word. So I'm showing up in those ways. But each day, even if there's people who've already like connected with me, sometimes they send a random message just to remind me, like, because of you, we've done this. Like, you had this event in the DMV, and we wanted to send you this picture because we've created a mastermind. So it's like, how could you not push forward when you created something and it's doing, the purpose has come to fruition. Like, people are building on that. They're finding the women they trust. They're finding their tribe. They're building, they're sustaining. So it's just how I stay lifted. It's my people.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very important to find your why and stick with that. That will take you a long way if you just find out why you're doing what you're doing, and then remind yourself that's what you
and have. Don't forget, never forget the why, because even when you get off track, I think it's easy to forget the why, because you get so distracted by all the things that have come your way. The changes that most people fear, the things that feel uncomfortable. But if you remember why you're doing it, and if it was genuine in the first place, then there may come a time where you feel like, maybe I don't want to do it anymore. And it could be so. Some things are supposed to come to an end, but for the most part, if you're just getting started, baby, keep the ball rolling. Like, this is only the beginning. Like people say, entrepreneurship is like a roller coaster, but you have to remember why you started, because there's so much passion and power rooted in that.
Yeah. And what advice would you have for women that are struggling with being in the way of their own dreams?
Ooh, girl, move. Move. Like, get out of your own way, but get out of your head. Like I said before, mindset is probably one of the biggest dream killers, because people are typically afraid or they feel like they don't know. But I think once you work on that piece of it, and it takes a lot. It's not as simple as just saying, oh, like, girl, like I just say, get out your head. Like, and I expect you to go act on it. Like, no, sometimes it just takes work. It takes some internal work sometimes. You know, have you thought about what's stopping you? Have you been honest about your fears and what's actually holding you back? Is it because you don't necessarily know how to start a business and you just want to put it out there? Did you ask? Again, like, you know, I write it down, right? Like literally write down everything that's holding you back outside of yourself, because we know, like, when it comes to you, this is the only thing that stands in the way of you being where you are and where you want to go. Everything else, life is going to happen, things are going to change and shift around, but it's up to you to continue navigating that. So I always suggest literally writing down all the things that you know you want, all your desires, and then take another piece of paper and write down all your fears, all the things that have been holding you back. And you feel like, oh, you know, if I could just get past this phase, or if I could just overcome my fear of this XYZ, take that, write it down and burn it. Release all of that energy, release all those things, but make sure you write down the steps that will be necessary to overcome them and start acting on them. If it's asking for help, take that next step, do it the next day. Like, don't wait and stop holding off and feeling like, oh, like I'll do it later. I know, you know, timing it'll always be divine, but at the same time, don't be the reason that you're not a millionaire in 2 years. Like, you know, look at it like that. If you know you created something and you're sitting on a gold mine, don't be the person that stops it. If somebody else wants to attempt to, let them, but you know what's for you, and what's for you is going to come to you regardless, no matter who or what gets in the way. But you have to be the first to get out of your own head and push through.
Yes, I love that. I always say that whatever's meant for you will be for you.
Absolutely.
No one can ever take that away from you. And a lot of the times we ourselves are the biggest thing that holds us back from our dreams, just because we just have like the fear of moving forward. But,
yeah, it's a fear of what you'll actually get what you want. Like, why would you be afraid to get exactly what you want? Because you know it'll be so big, because you know you'll get all this attention. Like, I'm like, I hate attention. I told Janine before, I like to stay in the shadows. I like to do the work. I'm a beast behind the scenes. But do I like to show up in person all the time? Absolutely not. Are y'all looking at me here on Meetup? Yes, you are. You know, but you got to do the things that scare you most sometimes. And some people say do it scared. And yeah, do it scared. But deep down inside, there's confidence, because if you were skilled enough and knowledgeable enough to think of this idea, just imagine what you can do when you actually start executing it. Like, and you find the people who will support you in those endeavors, and the people who will continue to rally behind you. Like, opportunities, everything is endless. It is endless. Like, possibilities are endless.
Yeah, and that's why community is so important as well, because you have people that back you up, you know, when you're feeling doubts, or you have people there that are kind of like a reminder of this, whatever you're doing is working, you know, like.
Absolutely. It's the confirmation you need. The people behind you will always be the confirmation you need, even when you feel like you're not. I've had days where I feel like, my sister knows, like, I don't like this. I don't like this graphic. And they'll come back and be like, girl, that thing was fire. Like, I loved it. And I'm like, here y'all come. Like, saving me when I can't even save myself, you know?
Yeah, that's why, like I said, community is so very important, and they just bring you up when you feel down. But besides community, what other things would you say that you do? Like, is there like a morning ritual that you have, or is there like something that you do in the mornings, or like before you go to bed, to really like get you motivated?
I'm so inconsistent with those things. I'm so inconsistent, but I stay grounded. I started more of a spiritual journey and inner work, and it was, again, divine timing back in 2019, where I focused more on who I was internally, how I was feeling, becoming more in tune with myself, making sure, you know, I had my chakras aligned. I looked and started studying meditation. So I've been adopting that lately. And there's a 21-day meditation. I think her name is Jess Ray, that I had on Audible for years. And I finally started listening to it this year, and it was focused around breath work. And it was one of those things where I'm realizing, like, as I'm sitting and I'm focused and I'm zoned out and I'm inhaling all the things like I want to bring in, and sometimes I'm just releasing everything that I no longer want. I'm feeling lighter, and it kicks off my day right. So I come downstairs, I light my Palo Santo, I cut my music up, apologize to my neighbors in advance, and I just dance. I'm like, y'all saw me bopping when we first got in here, like Electric Lady was on. I'm like, I'll activate my root chakra. I'll do all the things that just bring me joy. I dance. I had not a care in the world. I'm not thinking about, I know I'm about to cut on my laptop and, start working and check emails. It'll come when it comes. But before then, let me get me together. Let me focus on the things that will, keep me centered and grounded. And yeah, I'm like, that's really the bulk of it. But other than that, I'm going to the water. If I'm stressed out, I had a hard day at work, I'll go to the dam. Sometimes I'll walk the dam and run, or some days I'll just sit and watch the sunset and let my emotions go with the water. Like, let it, it's life. If things get rough, sometimes it gets choppy, and some days it's just real serene and smooth. But all of those things really keep me grounded and focused, and help me stay motivated to do more.
I love that. So you're just bringing up your energy at the beginning of the day.
For sure.
Throughout the day. Yeah, that's exactly what I do as well. For me, it's like working out that really gives me like that energy in the mornings to really conquer the day. And I love just like nature. It's just very peaceful. And it just reminds you that it doesn't matter, whatever you're going through, you're just gonna go away. It's gonna go away.
Look, like they say, if it won't matter like 5 years from now, let it go. Like, just let it go. I promise. Like, it's hard, easier said than done, as most things are. But some days you just gotta, push it out the way and just let life be. Life is gonna happen. But only you can only control you. So some days it's a matter of letting go of the need to try to control everything that's happening in your life. And the only thing I can control is me. And if that means getting up and catching a vibe, or if that means just like, just laying out, just being me, that's exactly what I'm going to do, because I'm going to find my peace. Nobody's disturbing my peace, not in this day and age.
Yeah, and then you are ready for the day. You're ready to conquer everything and ready to go on about your life.
Yeah, it's easier to let the hard things roll, like, after that. It's like, after I know I got my energy together, don't you dare try to come and disrupt it.
Yeah, energy is so important. It also radiates with everything that you do as well. So if you have a good energy, then that will go on through your community. It will go on with everything that you do. And that's also what brings people coming back. Just people want to work with someone who has good energy and who could provide something like that for them.
Yeah, people want to work with others where sometimes they see themselves, but people they can sense an authentic energy from. If I show up as myself every day, I don't have to put on a mask, and I'm going to encourage everybody in my community to do the same. We have those types of conversations all the time, like how you show up in life is typically how I say people show up in their marketing. If you're going to be like timid and like, shy and whatnot, 9 times out of 10, it's the same way when it comes to your business. But I always want to encourage people to just remain true to them, because the same person that Janine and Emily got like on the call is the same person Carla and everybody else is getting today. I want to just remain true to myself and encourage other people to do the same, because you'd be so surprised at how much more you'll receive and how many doors open by just continuing to be your authentic self. Some people like to hide their certain parts of them and, maintain what they consider a professional image. Like 15, 20 years ago, people would say this lip color, like that's not professional. Well, what is professional? Like, I throw that word out. Like, who are you? Like, who are you? There are billions of people in this world, but the world needs a you, the person that can show up and change the game, change things, and shift people's mindsets and continue just making it a better place for all of us to thrive. And it's all deep rooted in being yourself, having fun, living your best life, and just remaining authentic to who you are.
Yeah, it's very important to just, like you said, stay true to yourself and show everyone who you really are. And I think also, like, for a lot of social media pages, that's the ones that get the more response, is people that just showing their day-to-day lives, like what they go through and all that stuff. that's, no one wants to see, everyone wants to see something that they can relate to. And if you're showing people how you really are, then they're like, oh, she's just like me, like,
Who wants to see the same thing? Like I always tell people what's missing, even when it comes to, if you're trying to figure out like even the type of community to build when it comes to social media. I got tired of seeing the same aesthetic. I'm in marketing. So when you go to pages, you see people who have the same carousels. It's the same types of graphics, the same color. They have the black and white photo with the color in the background. Like, like the perfect aesthetic. Sick of it, like completely sick of it. What's missing? What is not being shown, not being said, not being done? And typically it's the piece of being human, just showing exactly who you are, because it's what people engage with most, because it's what they can relate to most. I can't relate to this fake aesthetic that I don't necessarily live every single day, but I can easily relate to the girl who woke up and was like, welcome to regular girl TikTok, where I'm not about to make coffee. I'm about to grab a donut or two. I might walk down the street. It won't be a peaceful scene of me running. I might be swatting bees. This is real life. And people would engage with that far more than they would engage with, this looks so
perfect.
Like, yeah, it's almost fake. It's not genuine. And that's what people are looking for. They're looking for the authentic interactions and the places where they can come and be themselves. But, it's a matter of who's going to create those spaces. I've created one, but there's always room, no matter where you are. There are plenty of women who do things similar to what I do. I love it, especially when I see it's an authentic space. By all means, join it. Go where you see yourself. But I think a lot of people want to copy and paste and do what's already been done, taking the road that everybody's traveled. But there's still the roads that are less traveled or not traveled at all. Take the latter. Go down those roads. Explore what hasn't been explored before. Test what hasn't been tested before. Just navigate those territories, because there's always greatness on the other side of those things, because everybody's too scared to do it. Everybody's too afraid to show up as themselves, and for people to see their flaws and for people to see that they're human, which is crazy. But, there's room for that. But again, I ask, what's missing? Have you found what's missing in your industry or within your community or within social media? Like when you're looking, maybe it's a new app, because social media woes, meta woes. What is missing, and what are those components that you can bring to the table that will have people thinking, this is where I need to be?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think a lot of the times too, social media gives us that image of you have to be perfect and no one can really know what's going on behind the scenes. But I love that you're saying just take the other route, just find something that's missing from that perfect scene and make it your own, and you'll be surprised to see like how many more people agree with that more.
I'm telling you, some of those places, like people show up as other people and not showing up as themselves. You don't want to be in some of those rooms. You see celebrities who like, I fell into the shadows. Like it's not for me. It wasn't a room that they wanted to be in. They thought they wanted to be in it, but when they got in it, it was just like, this isn't for me. Things present differently, but when you actually get, again, like behind the scenes and into it, you realize it's a whole new world. It's not what you thought it was, but you can change that. Like you can change that by creating a community that shows this is exactly how it is. This is exactly how we present when we're in a boardroom, when we're at an event, when we're just meeting people personally, you can change the narrative with your own community. So my question to everybody is, how will you build your community? Will you find what's missing to, create what hasn't been done before? Take that road that's either less or not traveled at all.
And let's say like for me, for example, I ask myself things like that all the time, and I'm just like not sure. How is it fine to not know yet how to build, the things that you want to build or what it is that you're good at or something like that?
I think it's fine, because everything takes time. And again, you don't want to build without purpose or intention. Otherwise, it's just like, oh, I'm just putting stuff together. We'll see where it goes, y'all. Like, you want to know, this is exactly where I'm planning to take us, and when people come, they want to know where you lead me to. there's always leadership, no matter what community you're in, there's always going to be some leadership, even if it's member-led. Like mine is member-led, but I'm always checking like, well, if you want to share something, what type of opportunity you share? Like, where are these people going? But it's okay to not know, because you want to know where, again, like where you're leading people. And you don't want to just be out here just throwing things around and having people feeling like, well, this isn't together. So I'm gonna go, until you do get it together. But, just kind of navigate the territory until you figure it out. Explore different things. I always recommend traveling, and especially going to different events, because it gives you an opportunity to see that there's so much more to the world than whatever it is you're thinking. And 9 times out of 10, you'll end up seeing something, meeting someone, or having an experience, even the smallest things that make you realize, like, oh crap, like that's it. That's exactly what I want to do. Like, this is exactly who I want to speak to. Take the time to navigate it, because like, it's just like navigating aimlessly. What are we building on? You don't even know. Like, you don't even know. So, you do have to take your time to understand what it is, and who it is you want to speak to.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. That definitely makes me feel better. But thank you so much. I think that's all the time we have, unfortunately. I think we're gonna start the chat, or the Q&A, I mean. Just waiting for some questions to come in.
Oh, okay. I see a good one. Someone asked, do I have any experience in trying to start a mutually beneficial partnership with a reluctant or suspicious partner, even if the win for the partner seems bigger than the win for yourself? When it comes to partnerships, I approach those like I approach everything else, with intention. If it is not benefiting my community, if I feel like the person's hand is only out to take, it's a no. So sometimes you have to ask yourself, before you enter a partnership, is this mutually beneficial, or is this going to benefit the intended party? And if that's their party, you have to be coming with something that's going to give them what they need, and sometimes it's a matter of meeting their needs before yours. And that's okay. But, if this is a partnership and we're going into this thing together, what are you bringing to the table? And what are they bringing to the table? Like, have that open discussion of what it looks like. But if they're suspicious, also consider how you're presenting it. Did you come with information? Did you come with numbers, or, stats? Is there proof of what you've done before in the past? And if not, how you present it is going to matter. That'll like take the weight off of, like, if you don't have a name for yourself, the presentation is what matters most. So consider how you're approaching that and what you're bringing to the table. If they're kind of hesitant on connecting with you, because you want to make sure that you're meeting their needs. And especially if you're going with like businesses, larger corporations and things like that, they want to know that they'll be able to promote and like, draw your audience in. So consider your approach. Consider your approach and what you're bringing to the table before you enter a partnership.
Thank you. We have a question here from Tisha. She asks, is it best to leverage social media platforms strictly for business/professional purposes to stay focused on your goals/customer reach?
If it's a business page, then yeah, like I'm like professional purposes. But if it's a business page, yeah, like you definitely want to leverage those to stay focused on your goals, but you can't hit your goals without the people. So how are you approaching your content? Are you just selling? If you looked at your page right now, look at your first, I'd say 6 I typically look at the first three and they tell me all I need to know. It's a little different now because especially with Instagram, they have like 10 posts. But if I like look at Instagram and I'm just trying to like see what this page is about, what are you offering? Like, is this just like, are the 3 posts sell, sell, sell? If you can count more selling posts than you can interactive posts where you're actually telling them something they need to know or something they'll want to know, something that is beneficial to them, or showing them experiences or people or behind the scenes of things that would like genuinely engage them, that they'd be interested in, there may be a problem. So considering how you're approaching it, but I would definitely stick with using it to engage your customers. Of course, you want to establish some metrics that would help you determine, like, okay, if we're getting this type of interaction, then let's look at what happened. How many people clicked the link in our bio or went to the website to go order? Like, how are you tracking those things to figure out what actually engaged them more? Because you want the content to, keep them interested. And if they're not engaged, if they're not interested, then you can leverage all you want to, but you got to stay focused on the people. You got to make it about
them. Thank you. Sahid asks, how would this building a community idea work in the connect of an e-commerce company specializing in clothing with a worldwide niche market and reach?
Hold on, give me that one more time.
How would this building a community idea work in the connect of an e-commerce company specializing in clothing with a worldwide niche market and reach?
With an e-commerce company, it is a little different with e-commerce because it's, it's a clothing company, it's a hard sell. But sometimes it's a matter of, well, what's on the clothing? Is this, something that's licensed where I know everybody's going to be interested in this particular show, or, or is this something that's just specific to your culture, or something that people can just relate to? You build based off of that. So it's like, if there's like a specific topic, like I know, like for instance, like we love this specific show. So the shirts I make are based off of these shows and like the characters and all this other stuff. Bring the shows and the characters into that community. Like, okay, y'all, we're going to talk about this like later. Like, we just released this new shirt based off of a show or a movie that came out like 10 years ago. So we're going to have like a chat, or sometimes we might find some of the people who appeared in it, and we're just going to do like a live chat, because I know you love the shirt, but you love the shirt because you love the show. And since you love the show so much, let's get the characters involved. Like, let's figure out how we can just continue to cultivate a community based off of these products. And it'll make people want to buy the shirt even more. Just know how dope it is for you to make a connection. I'm like, you got to think outside the box. Don't just think like, oh, like I can only build a community because I'm offering, like, it's like a group of entrepreneurs type thing. Like, it doesn't have to be, and sometimes that community doesn't have to be a place or a space, but the community can just be the people that you surround yourself with. So when it comes to people who want to purchase, what do they look like? Are these people who, you'll just end up connecting with, like, constantly? Y'all attend the same types of events. Like, again, like you have similar interests and you just constantly communicate, or, are these people, again, who are interested because they feel whatever it is you have on that clothing, and they want a space to talk about it too, because they're reminiscing, they're thinking about the good times. It's nostalgic to them. So let's get together and like talk about these things, and just kind of like reflect on good times, and then buy my shirt while you're at it.
Definitely. Nisha asks, I love your spirit and clarity. Did you go through a phase where you had to release a lot before this breakthrough?
Whoever asked that, I am still releasing. Okay. I am still releasing. Okay. I appreciate it. Thank you for the compliment first. But yeah, I'm definitely still going through my phases, because again, like I said, I'm human. And when I feel like I want to retreat, I disappear. I get off social media. People feel like, you have to be on it like consistently. Sure you do. Consistently doesn't mean every single day, but consistently can mean I'm showing up in the same ways that you've seen me show up before. And I'm not going to change that for a specific person and whatnot. But Yeah, it's definitely been a journey. And I navigate it as best as I can. And like I said before, the spiritual practices and the things that I've implemented into my life have really like helped keep me focused to kind of keep going. And the people, honestly, I would not be here. I tell people all the time, I didn't build it. I may be the one person behind it, but I didn't build it without the people behind me. And there have been like lots of ups and downs. When I started Black Women Hustle, I had just started getting money again. I came off of nothing at the end of 2017, hardest year of my life. And I got down to my last dollar and like had nothing. But here I was over here trying to create a community for like, and it wasn't intended for entrepreneurs at the time. That's why it ended up being extended to entrepreneurs, professionals, and creatives. But before I could have something like Black Women Hustle, something this big, I had to go through my own issues. I had to work through all of the things that held me back, and get out of my own way, like defeating mental health issues and having suicidal thoughts. Like all of those things were very personal, but they played a role in me choosing life and choosing to be here today because I knew that there was a greater purpose ahead for me. And here I am on Meetup talking to y'all.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And
Yes.
last question, where can we Black women hustle?
Where can you Black women hustle?
Yeah.
Where can you? At blackwomenhustle.com. So honestly, blackwomenhustle.com, you'll find everything I've mentioned. Thank you, Emily. She just dropped the links in the chat. You can connect there, and I'm on social media. LaShawn Dreer, you'll find me. I mean, there aren't many, one of one. No, but you can easily find and, just connect. And when you see the women who are, a part of that community, a lot of women who comment and just engage, I always encourage you to connect because you never know who you're connecting with and how they're going to change your life. And this is, Black Women Hustle has been an example of that for me, not knowing who I'll end up talking to or what they'll end up doing for me or, what I'll end up doing for them. Again, it's reciprocal, so blackwomenhustle.com is where you should go. And it's BLK. So people always spell it out. And I'm like, no, it's just BLK for the Black.
Thank you so much for everyone for joining us today. And thank you so much to LaShawn for your time and sharing all your insights with us. I'm going to share.
Thank you.
We shared your links in the chat so our audience can continue learning about you and your community. Just gonna end things. So we recently launched a Discord community for Meetup organizers where you'll meet fellow organizers around the world, get advice from mentors, organizers with years of experience managing groups on Meetup, and hear about updates related to Meetup features. If you're interested in joining, you can scan this QR code on the screen. We also have a podcast, Keep Connected with Meetup CEO, David Siegel. David talks with Meetup organizers as well as leaders in community and connection. You can scan the QR code to give it a listen. And as a reminder, you can view a recap of this event in a few days on our Community Matters blog at meetup.com/blog. Thanks again for joining us today and have a great day. Thank you so much, LaShawn.
Thank you, Carla. Thank you, everyone, for tapping in. I appreciate it.